हमारे पास डिलीवरी भी मौजूद है और 10% डिस्काउंट के साथ आप खुद कलेक्ट भी कर सकते हैं। 298 लिंकन रोड, पीटरब्रो, PE1 2ND। देसी रेस्टोरेंट, आपका अपना पसंदीदा और मयारी खाने अब पीटरब्रो में।
Park Foods now has free car parking. That's right, park for free for up to 1 hour at Park Foods, the largest ethnic supermarket chain in the East Midlands, now open in Peterborough with the biggest ethnic supermarket in Cambridgeshire. Fresh quality fruit, vegetables, dairy produce, halal meat and poultry delivered to us every day. Park Foods carry a huge range of brands from around the world and thousands of products in our daily use household range, and all under one roof for a one-stop shop experience. Shop in comfort and safety in our large, clean and friendly store. Come and try the difference. All government COVID-19 rules followed. Park Foods, 232 Lincoln Road, Peterborough, PE1 2NE. Open 8:30 to 8 Monday to Saturday and 11 to 5 on Sunday. Remember, now park for free for up to 1 hour. No more pay and display. Yet another reason to shop with ease at Park Foods.
Peterborough's community radio station, Salam Radio, 106.2 FM.
Hello, it's that time of the week again. You're listening to Winning Women with your host, Iram Shah, a show that champions women in business to help them thrive in their business and in turn inspire you on your journey to success. I hope you're all doing well and going to join us on Salam Radio. You can join us by texting us on 07411 191062 or email us at the studio at salamradio.co.uk, or if you're listening on the Facebook live stream, you can comment on the video there. Today I'm going to bring you a very inspiring guest, our very own hungry mummy who is impacting the world of property investment and mentorship. Please virtually welcome the ever-evolving Danielle Bell, all the way from Ireland. Hello, Danielle.
Yay! Hello. I love that. I love that intro. I feel so famous.
Well, enjoy it. You've got an hour with me.
Love it.
Abroad. How are you doing, Danielle?
I'm absolutely over the moon, Iram, because I know you and I. We were supposed to do this. I think it was last week, and
yes.
As we know, show business
we had
never
hiccup.
goes well. But yeah, I have been really, really looking forward to this interview today. For a number of reasons. One, it's completely different. It's really new. It's really exciting.
Yes.
But also, you and I have known each other now for close to a year, and,
yes.
and you're one of the very valued members inside our community. So I feel this is very much a conversation with a friend. There's nothing awkward about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we'll be laughing lots. We're already laughing.
I think so. Maybe a little bit of karaoke thrown in for good measure.
And today is your first day back. We came back from our bank holiday on Tuesday in England, but I believe you had an extra day yesterday, and today's your first day back.
It is the first day back, and if I'm really, really honest, I can't say I'm doing it too much.
Mm-hmm.
This afternoon, I'm easing myself in, and I think that's probably the beauty, of being your own boss and kind of being a business owner or being an entrepreneur, in that there's no real sense of urgency. Yes, of course, there are things to do. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have some things that I know that I need to get done today, but because my son is off school for the rest of this week.
Yes, I have that as well.
And, that's kind of like a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. On one hand, it's great. on the other hand, I could happily put him back into school. But I am very, very lucky and very blessed to be able to take the foot off the gas this week and have an extended break. But yeah, I think you'll know this yourself, Iram. Mm-hmm. We jumped on our accountability call last night within the club, and energy levels were slightly lower because I think people had really taken the foot off the gas over the Easter break.
Yes. And
coming back off the back of a bank holiday, you do have to crank up the gears a little bit to hit the ground running again. And fortunately, I've got the rest of the week to do that, so I'm in no rush.
Fabulous. Well, let's tell the listeners a little bit more about you. Can I take you all the way back to your life as a city girl in the corporate world, Danielle?
Oh, please don't do it. Please.
I think it's really going to help people who are in a similar situation, working, employed, perhaps living the corporate life. What was life like back then, and what transitional thoughts were you having before you decided to take the plunge into the world of entrepreneurship?
Sure, I think that's a great question, Iram. And my story, it probably runs deeper than the typical corporate life. So to give the listeners a bit of a background, and for the guys who are familiar with us and who are listening today, I will repeat myself a little, so bear with me and deal with it. So for anybody who is listening today who doesn't know me, yes, I was previously a corporate lady, city girl. I was a financial analyst for the New York Stock Exchange. So that in itself was it. Listen, it's a job that I am incredibly proud to have held, because the New York Stock Exchange is hands down one of the most prestigious financial institutions in the world. I don't think that could be disputed, and to secure that spot with them was phenomenal, and an achievement I'm incredibly proud of. But the reason for me really wanting to leave corporate life ran much deeper than the 9 to 5. So I've been very open about our struggles to conceive our now son, who's 4 years old. But we had an extreme battle with IVF and fertility treatment, and it was really during that time when I was working on a different continent, constantly on planes, trains, automobiles, subways, you name it, up at 4 a.m, which I wouldn't mind if I was doing it for myself, but it was the long commute, it was lonely hours, but it was also coupled with an immense grief, because we were trying so hard to start a family that just didn't seem to be taking off. So it was really IVF that spurred us into taking that step back from that corporate world and getting on the property ladder. I mean, I always had aspirations to move into business, to move into entrepreneurship, but I was lost. I didn't know. I come from an old school family background where, you go to university, you get yourself educated, you get a well-paid corporate job, and, you work for the man for the rest of your days. Yes. And look, that's great, and I don't berate anybody if that's their passion. But I was really living a passion through my parents' eyes, and that's not where I needed to be. I was very much living a life that they had hoped for me, and not one that I had hoped for myself. So in a real twist of fate, the IVF actually spurred what was an incredibly painful process to go through. We do now have a beautiful 4-year-old son as a result of that process, who is the driving force behind everything that we do. But it also led me into the opportunity to step back from a corporate role and really kind of dip my toes in the water of, okay, how can I create more time, more freedom, more impact in our lives? And property was the next step. Where we go from there is even more long-winded. It's an even more long-winded story. But to answer your question, how did the city girl go from the corporate world to the world of entrepreneurship? And the very, very simple answer is, my husband and I encountered a journey we never planned for, and the rest really is history.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure.
And then whilst you were pregnant, I understand that's when you started really educating yourself for a career in property investment. Could you tell us a little bit more about in between
Absolutely.
throwing up?
How long have we got, Iram? How long have we got? No, but it's really, really important that people know that I just didn't wake up one morning and think, oh, I think I'm going to be a property investor. That's not the way it worked out. In fact, quite the opposite. I was probably repelled off property for a long, long time, because one of the stories that I don't tell very often, and if I do, I'm usually quite short on it because it caused a lot of pain in my family. But, my parents came from absolutely nothing in terms of their own backgrounds and their own upbringings, but worked incredibly hard to build multiple businesses within the family. But 2007, 2008 hit them hard, and as a family, we had a lot of property, and every last piece of property, bar our family home, was lost in 2007 and 2008 due to the financial crash. So I was repelled off property for quite a long period of time because I had such negative connotations with it. But that's really where the benefit and the hindsight of education comes into play. My parents didn't have that education then to buy right and to know what a good investment looked like, and to look at all the exit options and to know, look, what's the upside, what's the downside. So, yes, when I was pregnant, I tentatively thought, okay, I know that property can make me money, but I know I can't do this blindly. We also, it's really, really important, Iram, that I highlight to the people listening today, and this is, by the way, being streamed into my own community, so this is really, really relevant. It's really important that I point out that when I started in property, I did not have funds. I did not have cash, which probably sounds ironic given that I had this very well-paid corporate job. Mm-hmm. But I want to bring people back to my earlier message, which was, yes, I had a well-paid corporate job, but if you know anyone, or if there are any of the listeners who have been involved in fertility treatment, it is eye-watering, the costs that are associated with that. Mm-hmm. And I really do mean it's expensive. We had our first go free through the NHS, and all subsequent goes after that were at a private clinic, because the rules here in Northern Ireland are you get one free attempt on your NHS, right, and everything thereafter has to be paid for private. So the money that we had set aside as a savings pot was completely obliterated through fertility treatment. So I did, we couldn't go out and buy a buy-to-let property, no, because we didn't have the money. I needed to educate myself on, okay, how can I get started here? How can I make the tentative steps into this? Mm-hmm. How can I get a quick win, so to speak? And that's ironic because there's actually no such thing as a quick win in property. But I needed to educate myself, and that's really what I did, Iram. I spent every spare moment that I had consuming every level of content that there was out there. Further into the journey, I got myself a mentor, and I knuckled down, but I have to really, really stress that education was key in my progression to date.
And then that leads me on to actually, so there is a misconception that you need lots of money to start with, but you have quite evidently said that you started without this. How was your model of raising finance help? How did that help pave way for a property portfolio? And how can you explain the concept of raising finance to people who are probably not from the property scene?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a great question. And again, I'm very conscious that I'm speaking in property slang, and so if there's anything that I say that doesn't make sense to the layman, let me know. But essentially, raising finance in property is the art of being able to secure funds to buy, purchase property without your own money. So it's essentially borrowing money. If you think about it like the bank, it's borrowing money from an institution, which happens to be an individual in most cases, putting that money to secure your asset, to buy your asset, and then paying that investor back over time with whatever agreed time scales or conditions that you have in place. Really important to point out, though, that I didn't jump immediately into borrowing money to secure to grow my portfolio. I started with a strategy that you and I are very familiar with, Iram, which was property sourcing.
Yes.
So I dipped my toes in the water of property by acting as an agent and securing investment properties for other investors before I gained the confidence, the knowledge, and the know-how to then ask for joint venture finance, or then to ask to borrow funds from other people to then build up my own base.
Yes, because it requires time. And how important was this model of raising finance with people that had money to lend in this way? How important was this to help you scale and speed up your property portfolio?
Yeah. I mean, listen, the whole aim of the game, and my model, the aim of the game is speed and scale. Now, if you're using your own funds at some point in time, my funds are not infinite. They will run out. Okay, so it makes more sense for me to leverage the funds of those within my contact base who are perhaps not really so much interested in building a property portfolio, but certainly interested in a return in their own money, which is usually the case with the investors that I work with. And the whole premise of that model for me, Iram, was that it allowed me to build my own asset base at a speed of which I never would have been able to do using my own funds, because I guess the skewed belief system that people who are not educated in property have is that you save up your deposit, you buy, you then save up, you spend another 3 to 5 years saving up that money and you buy, which is fantastic, but it won't allow you to build up and scale at speed. And that's really where I wanted to be at, because the reason that I do what I do is that I want to build an asset legacy. And I won't do that with 5 buy-to-lets. That's not what's going to get me there. So I definitely needed to leverage the funds of my connections.
Yes. And what kind of were you going through any sort of negative mindset challenges at the time as well? Because there's a lot to have taken in during that time, wasn't there? Leaving the job.
Yeah.
What sort of negative mindset challenges did you have in the early days, and how did you overcome them?
Brilliant question. Absolutely brilliant. Even to this day, Iram, I am plagued with imposter syndrome. Plagued with it. It is an affliction that I think a lot of us, whether it's business, entrepreneurship, property, whether you're starting out, I think it's something that a lot of us do feel from time to time. And I know we've spoken at it, in length within our own members community. And yes, at the start of my journey, and actually, ironically, the more success that I started to, the many successes that I started to mark off, the more I actually felt the imposter syndrome.
Right, so celebrating your small wins.
Well, yeah, but even then, Iram, which is really, now I look back and I think, Christ, who were you, Danielle? It was just, for me, I really wanted to keep what I was doing under wraps, because I was almost looking over my shoulder thinking, you're not supposed to be doing this. This is not for you. You're not meant to be doing these things. You're not a property investor. These were all internal conflicts, Iram, that I dealt with on a daily basis, and I kept it from friends. I kept it from family. The only person who really knew my wins was my husband, because I knew I could count on his support. But I really held myself back with friends and family purely because I felt that I didn't feel good enough for what I was doing. It just didn't seem right that with no funds and no previous property education, that I was actually paving a way for myself in the business.
Sure. And how did you overcome these? Is this something? What sort of ongoing things are you doing in order to help you overcome these things that probably a lot of people are experiencing in all walks of life, really?
Yeah. I am a massive advocate, and look, I'm not saying that everybody needs to do this, but for me, it's what works. I have coaches for just about everything in my life. just about everything. I have business coaches, I have life coaches, I have personal development coaches, and if, the direct answer there is, I meet with one of my coaches named Pete Launton, and I meet with him every single Tuesday for an hour, and I credit a lot of my ability to move past clouded judgment and to lift that weight off my shoulders to him. And I guess it is like a therapy session where, we can sit down, I can talk about how I'm feeling, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it's family, and he can give me that clarity of really digging down and thinking, okay, is the problem you, or is the problem others, or is it how you perceive the problem to be? And I really credit a lot of my ability to move past my demons now, down to surrounding myself with people in a similar mindset. I'm also a massive advocate for reading. Reading. I don't believe that there is a single problem that cannot be solved where the answer is not in the book. And I really do. That maybe seems like a broad and quite a daring statement, but I believe it to be true. I don't believe that there's a problem that you have that you cannot find the answer to in a book, and it's for that reason I'm an avid reader.
Yes, and it shows in your a lot of your social media posts. You give a lot of value from things that you've read, quotes. So how has the power of social media, you've incorporated a lot of these learnings into your posts, and how has the power of social media changed the course of your entrepreneurial journey? How has that helped you change things for you?
There's absolutely no doubt about the fact, Iram, that from a raising finance perspective, and subsequently from the launch of my online community, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the single most effective means that got me to this point was social media.
Wow.
And what people underestimate what social media can do, and it's a free tool. You know, I hear people speaking about, well, you have to do your Facebook ads, and you have to pay for this, and you have to pay for that. You know, I'm being very, very, very conscious of my choice of words, because as you and I know, Iram, sometimes an occasional swear slips out. So I'm really trying to hold myself back in that today. My PA Lindsay warned me. She's like, Danielle, please don't swear. So I'm being mindful. But if people could only realise that to get where they want to go is within their fingertips. I'm holding the most powerful device for my business in my hand right now, and I'm speaking to you. Your phone is an endless source. It can take you wherever you want to go. And the most important thing that you can do with that phone that you hold in your hand is not to send the WhatsApp. It's not to have the hour-long phone calls with your friends and family. It is, if you're serious about scaling the business and becoming an entrepreneur and doing well within your business, whether that's property or otherwise, get on your phone, go on to 3 or 4 of the social media platforms that we have out there, pick one, and produce the most amount of content in your field. And I can assure you that over time you will be noticed. And for me, that's exactly what happened, Iram, and I am incredibly thankful. My platform is Facebook. It has been Facebook for quite some time. It has definitely been Facebook for the last 12 months. And it has been very kind to me because I have been able to put my story out there.
Yes.
I have been able to document my journey. I have been able to post about the learnings that I've had on my property journey, and they haven't all been kind. I've been able to put my personality out there because it is a Marmite personality. I have no problem saying that. You know, it really is love or hate. And look, you can't please everyone, but nor should you try to.
No.
And I think the people who are supposed to be in your life, in your tribe, in your gang, in your circle, will align with you naturally, and the people who aren't just won't be there, and that's okay.
That's okay, exactly. And how can people find you, Danielle? How can people find you on Facebook?
People can find me on Facebook. So my personal profile is just Danielle Bell, but my free Facebook community is Property Sourcing Made Simple by Danielle Bell. On Instagram, it is I am Danielle Bell Property, and LinkedIn, it's Danielle Bell.
Fabulous. We'll go into your community a little bit in detail as well. One of the things I've noticed, Danielle, through all your posts, which is where I think a lot of people get to know you as well, and you've said it's been so instrumental. The reoccurring theme has always been hunger. The hunger for seems to be your driving force. The hunger for success. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on how did you come to how's this driving force helped you create your brand of Hungry Mummy?
Yeah, you know, that really came about quite organically, Iram, if I'm honest. I didn't sit down one day and, you know, kind of put pen to paper and say, that's it, you know, I'm Hungry Mummy. That's never the way it went. But it really felt like a natural fit for me. And I also realised that it does take a little bit of explaining if you don't know me, but the hungry does not mean for food, right? I just need to clear that up, right? Because I've had that said, and you know, maybe that actually is per branding. But the hunger element for me, Iram, really boils down to, and again, I credit this to the IVF. I waited so long to have my son that when I eventually had him, got to hold him in our arms, got to build a life around him, the one thing that I was absolutely adamant about is that I would give him the best life I possibly could.
Sure.
And it's for that reason that I am incredibly hungry. But I also have to touch back on, Iram, you know, my story from my parents in 2007 and 2008. I really couldn't put into words the pain that our family felt,
Sure.
you know, during that crash. And my story is not unique. There are tens of thousands of stories of families who suffered terribly in the financial crash in 2008. But this is my story, and it's personal to me. And, you know, the pain and the aftershocks of that financial ruin, and it was financial ruin of my family, and I don't say that to be exaggerated. It was financial ruin for them. It had huge impacts on us as a family psychologically.
Sure.
So, you know, as I moved on through the years, the one thing that I really wanted to ensure was my own family, which is now my son and my husband. I wanted to ensure that we had our own financial safeguard.
Right.
And that hunger, you know, it's kind of, if you've been to the bottom, Iram, you know you never want to go back there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is a massive, and it's something, you know, I'm really honest, I don't talk about it very often. I myself, I'm past it now, but up until even as recently as last year, it was a subject I could not speak about without becoming emotional. I am very, very past that now. But I will never forget. I will never ever forget just how bad things got. And that is a massive, massive hunger for me. It's a huge fire in my belly.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing that. I didn't know that. Were you feeling a little bit how I think after the break, I'd just like to find out a little bit more, how has that experience helped you almost survive during this lockdown period? How, you know, what sort of thoughts might have triggered things that, you know, from past events, how has that triggered, how those triggers helped you succeed during the lockdown period, which, you know, might be a little bit scary, thinking that, you know, you might repeat, history may repeat. So if you don't mind, we're just going to go to a break in a few seconds. I don't want to cut you off short, but after the break, do join us. Again, you could message us on the live Facebook stream, or text us, which I'll give you the number later. Thank you. Bye.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
See the telephone.
Now we're gradually coming out of lockdown. We can meet up outside in groups of up to 6 or 2 households. Have friends round for a drink in the garden. There you are, doing your bit, keeping a safe distance. When it starts to get dark and a little chilly, and suddenly your lounge looks very warm and inviting. But don't forget, you're much safer in the fresh air, because COVID-19 particles are blown away. Let's take this next step safely. Remember, hands, face, space, and fresh air.
Bowel cancer screening saves lives. The NHS sends everyone aged 60 to 74 a free home testing kit every 2 years. Using this test is easy and hygienic. Ask your parents and grandparents whether they have completed their screening kit. Find out more by visiting Cambridgeshire and Peterborough ccg.nhs.uk and searching bowel cancer.
Desi Restaurant is open, so why not order now for your family meal tonight? We've got fish pakora, chicken pakora, charga steamed chicken, lamb and vegetable samosas, biryani, pizza, faluda, jalebi, gulab jamun, samosa chaat, fresh chicken and lamb handi, Lahori channa and much more. We've got it all at Desi Restaurant. Special offer, Niari Opaya with 1 naan or roti only £6. Special lunchtime offer from noon to 4 p.m. Chicken or lamb curry and 2 roti only £6. Mixed veg curry or tarka dal and 2 roti only £5. Order now at desirestaurantonline.com and pay online safely, or call us on 01733 555 795. Delivery available, or you can collect for a 10% discount. 298 Lincoln Road, Peterborough, PE1 2ND. Desi Restaurant, the trusted family favourite in Peterborough. Park Foods now has free car parking. That's right, park for free for up to 1 hour at Park Foods, the largest ethnic supermarket chain in the East Midlands, now open in Peterborough with the biggest ethnic supermarket in Cambridgeshire. Fresh quality fruit, vegetables, dairy produce, halal meat and poultry delivered to us every day. Park Foods carry a huge range of brands from around the world and thousands of products in our daily use household range, and all under one roof for a one-stop shop experience. Shop in comfort and safety in our large, clean and friendly store. Come and try the difference. All government COVID-19 rules followed. Park Foods, 232 Lincoln Road, Peterborough, PE1 2NE. Open 8:30 to 8 Monday to Saturday and 11 to 5 on Sunday. Remember, now park for free for up to 1 hour. No more pay and display. Yet another reason to shop with ease at Park Foods.
In the heart of Cambridgeshire, this is Salam Radio.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. It's like a phone conversation. Hello. Welcome back to Winning Women with your host, Iram Shah. Just a reminder, you can text us on 074 11191062. Email us at the studio at salamradio.co.uk, or you can comment on the Facebook live stream or the YouTube video. I have just remembered, Danielle, last year, June, during lockdown, or just sort of post-lockdown, was it? You launched something great. So that is one of the ways you've spent your lockdown. Can you tell us a little bit more about how, how that started? Because that's what's really, that's really exciting, isn't it, during lockdown?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, I think some of us use lockdown to reflect on the places that we wanted to go and the things that we wanted to do, and others use it to find out what really meant the most to them. And for me, I used the time to connect with people who were just on the journey that I was on, but they were at an earlier stage. So I wanted to connect with people who were me 2 years ago, who were me 3 years ago, that I could really, really help, that I could give value to, that I could pass on my learnings, that I could pass on, where I went wrong, what I did right, what I did terribly, terribly wrong. And there has been more than the one mistake made along the way. But more than anything, I wanted to create a family and community environment. And I did that through the launch of my members club and community, Property Sourcing Made Simple, which I am very, very delighted and blessed to have you as a founding member. That's really how you and I came across each other, Iram. And the whole premise, Iram, of Property Sourcing Made Simple is a community and an environment that allows property sourcers and novice property investors to come together to learn from each other. We have monthly expert masterclasses, and I think the running thread through the group is the act of accountability, which is really, really, really important. And it doesn't matter whether your business is property, whether your business is, the radio show, whether your business is car salesman. Accountability is an absolutely vital part of success within business. And success is, by the way, deemed in your own head. It's not what others believe it to be.
Yes.
But certainly surrounding yourself with a group of like-minded individuals, like-minded people who can come together, share stories without fear of judgment, is a really, really important thing for me. And I am exceptionally proud of the platform that I've created, and I have nothing but super, super high hopes and plans for it.
Absolutely. And you'd really described accountability to be the catalyst to success in a recent article as well.
Yeah.
And so many of your members in the group, would you agree, you've advocated it amongst your membership club, amongst your mentees. So, what would you say? How has this helped you as well in your career?
Listen, Iram, I think the opening line, and the article that you're referencing is an article that I was asked to write for Blue Bricks Property Magazine, and that was out last month. And I, from memory, the opening line of that article that I wrote was, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the hardest worker of them all?" And your mirror replies back loyally, "While you are master."
Right.
And you know, there's comical irony in there. Hopefully they got that. Maybe I'm no J.K. Rowling, but you know, we give it a go. But there is irony in that, and what I really meant by that was, listen, when you have to look yourself in the mirror, 9 times out of 10, most people are their most forgiving person. Okay, so if I didn't get up this morning and maybe, you know, do that 30-minute workout that I promised myself, I can look myself in the mirror and say, "It's okay, Danielle, look, you're quite tired today. You know, you've had a rough week," and I will believe my own lies. But the minute that you put yourself in front of a peer, and that peer holds the mirror up and says, "Well, why didn't you do the workout? Why didn't you do the things that you said that you were going to get done? Why haven't you taken the action this week that you were supposed to do?" For most of us, that becomes incredibly uncomfortable. Yes. Because nobody likes to be called out on their BS. Nobody likes to, you know, have their flaws pointed out in front of them. And for me, I found that at the earlier stages of my journey, when I got someone in place who could hold me accountable and hold the metaphorical mirror up to me and say, "Listen, you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z this week. You've done absolutely nothing, but there's no reasoning behind it." I became very embarrassed by my excuse making, and I can put my hand on my heart now and tell you that I was the queen of making excuses. It's ridiculous. So, you know, if you think the dog ate my homework was bad, you know, you really need to hear some of Danielle's excuses, because I was an absolute crass woman at finding, you know, reasons why I couldn't. And really, if I'm honest, Iram, I had to become disgusted with myself before I could make the choice of finding accountability. Now, the moment I incorporated and inserted accountability into my life, both personally and both in business, that's when I saw the shift.
Really?
I didn't want to be the weakest link in the room anymore. You know, it is that kind of embarrassment factor. Nobody wants to be the last person picked. Nobody wants to be classed as, you know, the one team member who let the entire team down.
Yes.
So I really started to up my game when I, you know, factored accountability into my own journey, and it's given me a huge passion for accountability ever since, which is, again, one of the stemming reasons why I created, you know, the community that I have created, and it's definitely one of the main traits in my journey that I would like to see scale on a massive basis.
Yes, and as you embrace this new way of life through all these different milestones that you've achieved, what would you say was a transformational point that pushed you really up and beyond your comfort zone, Danielle?
That's a really good question. So, I mean, I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone, you know, as we speak. I openly spoke about the fact that, you know, I'm kind of moving from buy-to-let investor, flip investor, onto new build development, which is, you know, if you're not from the property world, that mightn't make much sense, but it's a huge jump. It's a massive jump, and the numbers get much bigger, and the risk gets much higher. But one of let's take it back a couple of years. The most transformational decision I ever made that pushed me out of my comfort zone was putting myself front and center of a property networking event. Right. To do a presentation, which really rocked my world, because I was just terrified. This was not.
How many people were you presenting to? Sorry.
74.
Oh, wow.
74.
So,
you know, it was kind of slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I've spoken about this in great length. I was coerced lovingly by my mentor at the time to do that. And it was gentle coercion. Right? I don't want anybody arrested when I use the word coerced. But yes, I was lovingly coerced into doing this. I hated every moment of it. I was in cold sweats. My legs were shaking. My hands were shaking. I had a jittery voice to begin with. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a quiet person, Iram, as you will know. Yes. I'm not shy, and I'm not I'm pretty out there. Mm-hmm. But I turned into a wallflower then. The flip side to that is I put myself out there. I, felt the fear and did it anyway, which, by the way, is a fantastic book, just slightly off topic. If anybody hasn't read that book, okay. Mm-hmm. Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers is a really great book for stepping outside your comfort zone. But the wins that I received after doing that presentation still continue to affect my life now, because on that night, I onboarded a new investor who I have since gone on to do multiple projects with, who has funded my flip projects, who is funding some of my development projects. And that was from a 10-minute presentation.
Wow.
So that was it was a moment in time where I really realized, wow, mm-hmm. if I can stretch myself a little bit mm-hmm. here and there are no boundaries to what I can achieve. And I am not perfect. I still get scared. I still feel uncomfortable. I still hold back. I am working on it day in and day out. But I believe that we are absolutely masters of our own destiny. And the only thing that stifles anybody from moving forward on their journey is a comfort zone. That is so true. It will completely stifle your progression. And I really just want to hammer home to people listening that whatever your circumstance, whatever your situation, if you continue to do the same things that you do, you're always going to get what you've always got. Mm-hmm. You need to do something different. You need to do something that scares the living daylights out of you. But I promise you, at the other end of it is the one thing you've always wanted.
That's such a nice way to put it. It's so true, though. And Daniel, this is the way you work with your mentees. Where can you remind the listeners, where can they find out more about your property mentorship service, your Facebook group as well? Got some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody who is interested in learning a little bit more about me, about what it is that I do and how I can help you on your property journey, you can jump over to Facebook and type in Property Sourcing Made Simple with Danielle Bell. You can direct message me on Facebook. Again, profiles Danielle Bell. You can contact me within the group. You can also head over to propertysourcingmadesimple.co.uk, that's our members club website. And any information that they need to know should be there. But failing that, reach out and contact me directly.
Yes, and one of our listeners, Pete Launton, has enjoyed Mirror Mirror on the Wall. He said it.
Pete Launton is my personal development coach, and he's listening. Hi, Pete. I love it.
And his question to you is there a particular moment that changed everything? I think you've answered a few times, but is there anything else that you'd like to add to that?
Is there a particular moment that changed everything? No, I do think that I've maybe referenced that already in that.
Yes.
That moment in time, thinking back to 2007, 2008, when there was just this undescribable pain that was just radiating through our family, and that continued for a decade. But when, in terms of my entrepreneurship, when I really realized that I was making an impact on people, there were moments in time where I was getting the most mind-blowingly beautiful, heartfelt messages from people who were saying, "Thank you so much for putting that out there today," or "I've been struggling with the same thing," or "You really helped me get over this problem," or "Thanks for being so honest and so real." Those messages mean a lot, and it was that moment in time that I really realized if I just continued to be myself and speak my truth, that I could impact much more people than I ever thought possible. And that's really been my ethos for the last 12 months, and long may it continue.
That's lovely. And one of the things, I think your posts, because obviously I've been following you, and one of the things that every Sunday you send a reminder of how, and how to have a productive week. And one of them is the importance of planning. How, and this is applied, to all sorts of different business sectors. How can you just give us a little bit more information on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a massive, and this is, I don't believe this is my, I didn't create this concept. Yeah. I've probably stolen it off someone else. But it's the plan, do, review approach. And listen, I've spent far too many weeks wasted. I've missed out on way too many opportunities because I did not plan, do, and review. So I'm a massive, massive advocate now of, I sit down on a Sunday morning with a hot cup of coffee after watching some trash TV, and I plan out my week. I can hear you laughing, Iram. I can hear you laugh.
I told you.
Yeah, I won't tell you what my trash TV is, but I can assure you it's really trashy. And I get the diary out. I have my planner, and I map out. I immediately put in my non-negotiables. Now, right. I really want to highlight here that this doesn't have to be just my business non-negotiables. In my diary, I will block out non-negotiable time with my family. In my diary, I'll block out, well, no, between 6 and 8 on this night, we have family night and movie night, and we have pizza night. So I'm not available for calls. I'm not available for messages. I'll block out things that I enjoy doing. So I'll block out in my diary my walking time. I love to walk. I say, well, no, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm not available for an hour here, there, and there because I'm walking. And the real reason that I want to get that out there is because I don't want people to think that we're running the military. We're not. I believe that you should prioritize first and foremost the things that bring you pleasure, the things that bring you joy. And most of us get that, that pleasure and that joy from spending time with people that we love and doing things that we love. So block out those times first. Block out the movie night. Block out the date night. Block out the pizza night.
We're so guilty. Yeah, we're so guilty not to do that, aren't we? We're so guilty of just, not prioritizing these small things, like you say, that give us pleasure.
Yeah, but then you fall out of love with everything else as a result, because you become so resentful of the hustle and the grind of the business building, of the entrepreneurship, of getting to where you need to be. You become so consumed and so engrossed in that you do forget about everything else, and as a result, you lose motivation. You lack vision, clarity, direction. So do I plan my weeks on a Sunday? Yes, I do. But what I probably haven't spoken about often enough is that the first thing I plan on a Sunday for the remainder of my week is my fun time. And granted, fun at the moment is, stay 6 feet from your property. Don't look at another human being. Don't. But I do block out. There are non-negotiables in my week, and my family are those non-negotiables. My fun time are those non-negotiables, and then I'll work backwards for everything else. What do I need to do this week to move the needle in my business? I'll block out that time.
I think that's really going to help so many people. Lindsay Lee, your secretary, has been so kind to leave the links for Property Sourcing Made Simple and on the Facebook page. So do go onto the Facebook live stream, which you can also play back, and follow the link there as well. Danielle, we've got about 10 minutes left. I want to ask you, I did say at the beginning you were ever evolving, because I can't keep up with all the exciting things you're bringing out. Last week, Wednesday, you launched something really exciting. Can we call it a podcast? Yes.
Well, it's actually a slightly different take on the podcast, Iram. We call it the Property Sourcing Show, and it is a live stream across my social media channels. You'll find it inside the Facebook community at Property Sourcing Made Simple. And really the premise of the Property Sourcing Show, Iram, is short, bite-sized, actionable tips, information, advice, and help for people who are on their property sourcing or investment journey. So these are not supposed to be long-winded shows.
Yeah.
It is literally in and out. I give you the information that you need, and I tell you this is what you need to do to implement it. And it's proved. I mean, we kicked off last week with the first show, which was, I believe, was about 27 minutes long. And we packed lots of value in there. We packed lots of content, and the feedback has been up.
Hello? Just lost Danielle at the moment, so just whilst we're waiting for Danielle to come back, in the last few minutes, if you'd like to text us on 07411 191062, please do. Or feel free to email us at the studio, which is studio@salamradio.co.uk, or you can message us on the Facebook live stream or on the YouTube video. So just whilst we're waiting for her to come back, I myself am also part of the Property Made Simple group, so I can definitely vouch that it's a membership club, which is a great place to network, connect with like-minded, hungry people for success. There are some fantastic, great monthly masterclasses on there as well. What else? So we're just trying to see if Danielle can come back on just to finish. No, we can't get Danielle back on. Okay, so do listen in on Wednesday, which is tonight at 7:30. Danielle will probably tell you, if she had been online, that she has a show at 7:30. We've got a listener who seems to be part of the group, James Templeman. He's saying himself as well, an amazing group for like-minded people who want to start their property investing journey and connect and get some really valuable tips. What else? Now, one of the things I wanted to ask Danielle was what can we look forward to in the future? So hopefully we'll try again to see if we can get her back on. If not, again, just feel free to text us on 07411 191062, emails at the studio@salamradio.co.uk, and please do send your feedback. Tell me what you were enjoying about the show. Send your feedback and let me know if there's any particular types of guests that you'd like to see. Over the next week, from next month, will be the start of Ramadan, so we're really looking forward to advocating. Oh, I think we've got Danielle on the line just now. Okay, so we're just going to get Danielle back on. Hello?
There's no business like show business.
Tony, we've never had this with any other guest, so I'm so sorry.
I genuinely, I thought, wow, Iram has definitely got a unique style of interviewing. She just hangs up.
Thank you, Danielle. I want you to. We've got 5 minutes left, Danielle.
Sure.
Sorry to abruptly cut you off there, but I told the listeners about your tonight at 7:30 is your next your show. Can you tell us again? How can we find you on that? How can we follow the show?
Yeah, for sure. Now that I gotten over the shock of you putting the phone down on me, you for anybody who has an interest or a passion or an inkling in property, you can jump over to my free Facebook community at Property Sourcing Made Simple. The Property Sourcing show goes live tonight at 7:30 p.m. If you can't make the live, the replay is in the group, and tonight we're covering a really important topic that I think is imperative, whether it's business or property or entrepreneurship, and it's how to incorporate a sales mentality into your property journey. So it's going to be a really, really juicy one tonight.
Fabulous. And what about the future? What can we look forward to? What else? How else are you evolving? What other exciting things have you got coming up, Danielle?
Yes, I have huge goals, Iram, and I make no bones about it. I mentioned earlier on that I am really scaling in the property journey from your bog standard buy to lets and your flip projects and your SA units, which are great, but 2021 definitely has me earmarked to jump into new build development, which will be a massive step outside my comfort zone. Huge step outside my comfort zone. I'm also looking forward to getting back into the room and hosting the networking event that we run here locally in Belfast. And from my online perspective, Iram, perhaps I'm holding myself accountable here now by announcing this on the radio, but I really want my community, my space and my platform to be the number one platform in the UK for budding property sourcers and property investors and deal packagers. I really do want what we have to be known as the #1 most valuable and engaged space for those people. And I think that we are most definitely on the track to make that happen.
Yes, and you've had some really key masterclasses on there as well, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, but can you tell us a little bit more about the themes on the masterclasses?
Yeah, for sure. So, the whole premise is within that space, Iram, is that we provide monthly expert trainings. So, we'll cover all things mindset, which we've actually got coming up this month. We have done how to raise investor finance. We have done how to use social media on your property and business journey. We have covered Q&A sessions with some of the UK's most powerful property powerhouses in their own right. So we've lots coming up. We do systemization.
Yes.
We're going to cover buying at auctions. So, the education element in there alone is second to none. And that type of environment you simply won't get in any other sphere.
Absolutely.
And an NLR platform within the UK, and that's what sets us apart. But if I'm really, really honest, Iram, the content that we provide, I know, is first class, but the community feel that we've got, you cannot buy.
Yes.
You just cannot buy that.
Yes. Absolutely. What would you say to your listeners who have caught the entrepreneur bug, who feel inspired by your story to perhaps, leave their jobs and do something similar, just follow the entrepreneur lifestyle? What would you say to them, Danielle, as your...
Yeah, I want to caveat, I wouldn't tell anybody to leave their job until they had
Yes.
a backup
Yes.
plan in place, and that's, I didn't do that. I matched my income through property before I left my corporate role. I'll reference a book that we spoke about earlier on, and it was Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. So for anyone who is considering entrepreneurship or being a business owner or stepping into property but feels slightly uncomfortable, read that book. But here's what to know. Never, ever, ever try to impress anybody but yourself. Because a lot of people go broke trying to look rich, right? That's a fact. So don't ever try to impress anybody but yourself, and also don't listen to the opinions of anybody other than your own inner voice. Because what I have found over the years is that people become fearful when it looks like you're moving on and moving up in the world, and that can really, really stifle your growth. And always, 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 final point, never, ever be afraid to ask for help. Never be afraid to ask for help. There is no question that is too stupid. If you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer. Seek out someone who does, and just learn along the way, because success leaves clues. Again, very, very cliched, but we don't have to make it difficult.
Yeah.
Just seek out the
Thank
right
you.
individuals and ask.
Thank you very much, Danielle. We're going to finish now. It's been absolutely great to have you on. I hope we've I hope we've inspired our listeners as well. I was a little bit on edge today with 3 kids off school, but hopefully we've not had any guest appearance on YouTube or Facebook Live. But take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks, Iram. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.